Hello friends, welcome back. Let me open Unity editor and I create one new project. Now in this class we are going to learn arrays. From here onwards, I think few classes we will be learning about arrays. So I say here the project name is arrays demo and I keep at desktop, and 2D project I select, I say create a new project. Now we are going to discuss about arrays. Okay, why we need arrays and how we are going to process arrays, because arrays are list of elements. Okay, very useful concept. We'll get an idea. Okay, step by step. We come back to assets folder, create one new folder, and the folder name is going to be scripts. Inside the scripts, I'm going to create a new C# script which is going to be arrays, ARRAYS, arrays demo. And this C# script I'm going to attach to the main camera. I save, not necessary to save, I'm not saving the project. Yeah, if you want you can save the current scene also. Let me show that in this tutorial. We can create one new folder. Let me create one new folder called as scenes, SCENES, scenes. Now you can save the current scene also in Unity. So this scene I want to save. This is the scenes folder. Inside the scenes folder we will be keeping the scenes. So I say file, save scene, and you have to open this scenes folder because you should create that scene inside the scenes folder. So the scene folder I am going to say, let us take scene 1, or you can say if you have games then you might be having level 1, something like that. I just mention here scene 1, and usually scenes are going to have extension Unity, like C# file is going to have .cs, right? So here this file is a Unity extension it has. I just save it. You can see that you get an icon which is actually the scene 1. This current scene we are saving here as a scene 1. Whenever you want to load the scene, you just need to double click on the icon. It will open that scene and all the objects in the hierarchy panel. But that's okay. I hope you understood how do we create a scene. Just you need to create one folder called as scenes, and there you need to keep your scene. Just file, save scene, that's it. Now onwards, if I press Ctrl save, you won't get that window. Previously we used to get the window because I was not saving at that time. This time I just saved this scene 1. Okay, this scene as a scene 1 which has one camera. Now we have C# script. Let me open this. I'm deleting the unnecessary code at present. Okay, now let us talk about arrays. Before going to array, I just write a code. Okay, let us see here. I'm creating int num1 is equal to 10, or let us take num1 comma num2 comma num3 comma num4 comma num5. I created 5 variables where their name is num1, num2, num3, num4 and num5. Each are of type integer, that means all are of size 4 bytes. Then I can assign the values to them, right? Num1 is equal to 10, then num2 is equal to 20, then num3 is equal to 30, num4 is equal to 40, num5 is equal to 50. If I want to display all these values, I just say debug.log. We display num1 value. Then debug.log. We display num2 value. Then debug.log. We display num3 value. Right. Then debug.log. We display num4 value. Then we say debug.log num 5 value. You can see that if I have to create 5 different integers, then I have to write like this, and if I have to initialize them value 10, 20, 30, I have to initialize like this, and if I have to display the value of each variable, then I have to call debug.log again and again and again and again, right? Many times I have to call. This is how many times you are initializing, this is how many times you are creating an elements. And if you save and come back, and if you run the code, you get the result as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now, if I have to create like this 50 numbers which are of type integer, 50 variables which are of type integer, I want to store 50 numbers in them, then I have to write 50 times, I have to assign 50 times, I have to call 50 times. That's really hard work, right? So there comes the use of arrays, whatever you say. Now arrays are actually list of elements. Now what are arrays? Arrays are list of elements. Their size is fixed. They are static list, we say. You cannot increase the size of an array or decrease the size of an array. That means if you are creating an array which can hold 10 elements, that means it can hold 10 elements only. You cannot increase, I want later 15 memory locations. Then it is not possible. Arrays are also called as indexed variables. And another point is arrays are reference types, I can say. Like string is a reference type, I have explained before. We will be understanding. Now let us come to get an idea the difference between value type and the reference type. Now let us take you have an integer num and you assign it to 10. This is a value type, which the meaning of this is the system will create one memory location. Let me show here what happens actually when this line will get executed, or what are value types. Value types are what happens when this line will get executed means it will create one block and it gives a name to this memory location as num and assigns a value 10. This is a value type. Let us take you have a reference type which is a string. Name is equal to hello. String is a reference type because it is a class. Reference type. Now let us take an example for what happens when this line will get executed. Actually, this hello will not get stored in the name memory location. Okay, let me explain what happens. First, it will create a memory block like this. And in that memory block, it will put hello, H-E-L-L-O, hello. Now this memory block is going to have some address. Let us take hash 10 is the address of this memory block where the hello is stored. This address is going to be stored in another memory location whose name is going to be name. Now this name memory location is going to hold the address of this memory location, that is hash 10. Whenever a memory location holds the address of another memory location, it is always going to point to that memory location, and such variables are called as reference variables. They are going to refer some other memory location. That is the reason string type are reference types. They are going to hold the address. If there is nothing inside them, let us take it is not pointing to anywhere, that means the default value of the string or reference types will be null, right? The value will be null inside them, the reference types. If it is an integer like a value type, then if it is an integer, the default value will be 0 in them. Correct or not? I hope you are understanding the difference between the value type and the reference type. Value types will hold the actual value, whereas reference types will hold a address or a reference to a memory location which has an actual value. Now, as I told, let me show just an example for that. If I just save this and put a breakpoint, attach, you just see that by default the num value should be 0 and the name value should be null because it's a reference type. Okay, if I run this code now, you can see that the name has the null value and the num is 0, and you can see the name is of type object. Anything is of type object is a reference type. Remember that. That's all. As I told, arrays are also the reference types. Arrays are static list of homogeneous. Homogeneous means same type. Homogeneous, static list of homogeneous data elements. Okay, and they are reference types. Let us understand how do we create an array which is going to be of type integer and can hold 5 elements. How do we declare an array? First, we will get an idea of declaration. How do you write a declaration? I hope you remember how do we declare a variable. Do you remember? We just write data type, then we write a variable name, right? This is how we declare. If I want to declare an array of integers, which is going to be something like this, you have to write a data type, use 2 square brackets. They indicate that we are creating an array. Then you are going to write an array name. Let us take something like this, num or nums. Let us take nums. This is going to hold numbers, or I can say numbers and semicolon. This is how you are going to create or declare an array variable. This is not a complete array declaration. This is just an array type. Okay, numbers is now an array. You have to read like this. Numbers is an array. In that each element is of type integer. This is how you have to read. Okay. Then if you have to create memory locations, you have to create how many memory locations? 5 memory locations. How do we do that one? We are going to say here equal to new integer array semicolon at the end, and here in this brackets you should write how many memory locations you want to create. Let us take I want to create 5 memory locations. So this place you are going to write the size of the array. This is how you create an array. That's it. Write a data type, put 2 brackets, then name of the array equal to sign, then you use a keyword called as new. It's a special operator. Okay, you can read that. The new keyword can be used as an operator or as a modifier. The operator is used to create objects on the heap and invoke constructors. So new operator is used for creating the memory locations on the heap. That is what it is telling. And it is also used to invoke the constructors. Constructors we will learn later. Heap I will explain now, don't worry. The modifier is used to hide an inherited member from the base class member. This is also used when we will be creating a functions. When we will be working in the inheritance, we used to hide some functions which will inherit from superclass to the derived class. We use the new keyword. There are three different places where you can use. Now at present it is used, at present we are using to create an array, and when we come to classes we will be understanding how the new operator is used to invoke the constructor. When we come to inheritance, we will learn how to hide the inherited function. Okay, later. At present we should know that new is a keyword used to create the memory locations, and they are created on the heap. That's it. That's it. Now let us understand what happens when this line will get executed. Okay, that is an important part. Let us save and understand what happens here. Okay. Whenever you run a code, there are two important memory locations which are used by your system. One is called a stack. The one memory location, one memory, this complete memory is known as a stack. Okay, S-T-A-C-K, stack. Till now we have not gotten any idea about stack, but I will explain now. You will get an idea about what is the difference between stack and heap. And another memory location will be a heap. This is a heap, let us consider. This is a heap, two different memory locations. Now stacks are used for functions, usually for keeping track of which function got executed first, which function has called another function, okay, which function has to execute next. That is about the stack, use of a stack. Heap is the memory location where you can create the memory locations and remove the memory locations dynamically. And heap is a very huge memory location, whereas stack is limited memory location. For every program, there will be a limited stack. Remember that. Heap is infinite, you can consider. Infinite means it is not infinite, that definitely it is also finite, but according to any small programs, it is infinite, because it will be considering as a complete RAM size, complete RAM location, except the protected memory space. The remaining space is actually a heap, you can consider. In heap you can create any size, any number of larger memory locations, whereas stack is limited. That we will understand how what is stack overflow means what. You might be getting such errors later. We will get an idea. But at present let us understand. Now we get an idea how the code works, what happens, okay, clearly. Now when I run the code, let us take here, let me remove this, let me stop this, okay, clear this one. Now I come back, anyhow it is attached, I just put a breakpoint and run the code just to show you how the code is working. Okay, let us understand now. First, when I run this, it will see the current scene. In the current scene, the current object is a main camera, right? It will go to the control, will go to main camera. In the main camera, or to the main camera, we have attached the script, that is our arrays demo script. It will start executing the arrays demo script. In the arrays demo script, we have a start function. We are calling the function called as start. When the system calls the start function, that start function is going to be moved to the stack. This is our call stack. In the call stack, we are at present inside start function. Can you see that? We are in start function. I hope you understood now what is the call stack. Call stack is a panel which is used to check the function calls. We are in which function now? We are in the start function. Like that we have to understand. We will get an idea about call stack more later, step by step. Now we are in the stack. Now what happens in the stack means it will allocate the variables which are present in that function on the stack. We have one variable called as numbers. Okay, we have another variable called as this, that will come later. But we have one variable called as numbers, and that will be allocated on the stack. Now what happens here means, on the stack some memory location is allocated for the function called as start. This is our start function. Okay. We have few variables inside that. One variable is numbers. So for that numbers memory location, the numbers is a memory location, right? Variable. For that memory location will be allocated, okay, which is of 4 bytes. As we have a equal to sign, the right hand side should be evaluated first. Okay, it will go to the right hand side. This side it will go. What system does? It will allocate new 5 memory locations which are of size int. What happens means, the system will allocate 5 memory locations. Let us take this is on heap. It will allocate 5 memory locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 memory locations it will allocate. That is the operation of new int of 5, and each memory location will be initialized by 0 because all are of type integer. Default values will be 0, and this number is going to be initialized to null because still it is not assigned by any value. It is not having any reference. Okay, you can see here the numbers is created on the stack, but it is having the value null. After executing this part, what this does means, it will return, as you have equal to sign, something you have to assign from right hand side to the left hand side, right? Correct or not? If you say C is equal to 5, you will be assigning 5 to C, right hand side to the left hand side. Same thing. It returns the beginning address of these 5 memory locations. Let us take the beginning address is #1 is the beginning address. That #1 will be assigned to the numbers variable. Now what happens is, this null is going to be removed from here. Okay, now it is not null because it is assigned by this #1 will be assigned. Now once the address stored in a reference variable, it will start pointing to that memory location. Now reference variables, you can say they are implicit pointers. Okay, there are different pointers, explicit and implicit. In C++ and C, you will get the explicit pointers. In C# also we have explicit pointers, but we use them in an unsafe mode. We are not going to use pointers anyhow. So remember that reference variables are implicit pointers. Okay, they are implicitly pointers only. Okay, behind the scene. Now this is what happens when this one line is going to get executed. Very simple. Remember that. Now let me explain once again in faster way. When I run this code, it goes to the main camera, it goes to the attached script, that is arrays demo class. In that start function is there, it will execute the start function. When the start function is called, the start function is going to get a memory location on the call stack, and it will create one memory location called numbers, which is the only one memory it is having, and it will assign that to null, and it will execute this statement. First it will execute the right hand side. Right hand side will create 5 new memory locations and returns the beginning address, and that address will be stored in the assigned variable, that is numbers variable. And once the address stored in a variable or reference variable, it will start pointing to that memory location. This is a stack, this is a heap. After that, let me show that whether it is creating 5 memory locations or not. If I execute this, let us see what happens. Step over. You can see that the numbers is not having null now. It is an integer array. And if I click on this, you can see it has 5 memory locations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 memory locations. and all are of integers, and each is assigned by the value 0. And this int 5 you can consider, actually here it is having an address. Consider that this place I have an address. Okay, that is #1. Just assume that #1 is there. That's it. Every memory location is going to be named something like this. Let me explain in this place. This is going to be, the first memory location will be 0. The second memory location will be 1. The third memory location will be 2. Fourth memory location will be 3. And fifth memory location will be 4. Now this point you need to note, arrays always starts with an index 0. These are indexes to these memory locations. Remember that. That is the reason arrays are called as indexed variables. I think I have written that here. They are reference type. Okay. They are also called as indexed variables. Let me write here. Indexed variable. Okay. Now, always it starts with an index 0 and ends with the total size -1. That is n-1 you can say, or size -1. What is the size of an array means total number of elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the size of numbers? Array is 5. An array starts with an index 0 and ends with size -1 memory location. That's it. That is how the array works. What is the meaning of stack and heap? Let us get an idea now. Now let us take, if you execute this function, if you execute it, you will come out of this function. Once you come out of the function, what happens means, whatever the variables are created, those variables are going to be removed from the memory. Okay, from the memory. Let me show. If I execute this, now the program has got executed. You can see that there is no call stack, there is no locals memory location. Now what happens means, the system is going to remove this from the stack. Okay, there is no call stack now. There is no, it is going to remove this. Can you see this? Now you don't have the numbers, but still these memory locations will be allocated in the heap. Now this is actually a garbage, you can say, right? Because you are not using them, they are in the heap. If it is a garbage, then the Unity's garbage collector is going to remove all these memory locations. That is actually known as garbage collection. That is the reason C# is known as managed or memory managed programming language. Whereas if you go to C++, C++ is not a memory managed programming language. No managed, because there is no garbage collection. Whereas in C# we have a garbage collection. So it is called as a memory managed. If anything is garbage, no longer used, then that will be automatically removed by the garbage collector. I hope you guys are understanding. Then these memory locations are removed. That is how the arrays work. What is a new operator? One of the most important thing you need to remember about the new operator is, whenever you use a new operator, the memory locations will be created on the heap. As I told, C++ is not a memory managed. What we do there actually means, we use a delete keyword. Okay, if I have to delete this heap memory location, we will be usually saying like this: delete an array called numbers. What this line does in C++ means, it will remove all these memory locations. Then afterwards we say numbers equal to null to set this numbers memory location null. So delete will remove this. Actually we call these two functions at the end of this function call here in C++. That is not necessary. I just want to tell you here, not memory managed means the programmer has the responsibility. The programmer will be having the responsibility that if he has created a memory location on the heap, it is his responsibility to remove. He has to write a code like this. If you forget, then this memory will be available always. That is called as a memory leak problem. We get an error. But in C# we don't have a problem like that, because the garbage collector we have, it will collect the garbage. We will not be having any problem. That is about the memory management. Okay guys, so for this class this much is enough. We will see in the next class a lot more information on arrays. I hope you guys understood all the concept whatever I explained in this class. Keep learning, keep coding. Thank you very much. See you in the next tutorial.